did an unbelievable job. Like Luke said, Debbie and I, 1987, we were approached by a friend of ours to get involved in Primerica. And this friend of ours happened to belong to our church, so we met him at coffee hour. And I promise you, if you ever met Tom and Mary, this is the first thing you'd say: how in God's name did you join them, right? Because, Tom I thought he was an older gentleman at that time, right? He was in his 60s. Am I in the way?
You're not in the camera.
Oh, I gotta get, sorry, let me get in the camera. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, we're good. I'm good. I'm good. And Mary, all she could do was giggle. It's like she's like our vice president, only worse. On everything. So when they approached, I forget who said it, but when they came over, thank God they came over with a trainer. The guy's name was Bobby Putman. Right now, Bobby was a big dude. And when he showed up at our door, he took up the whole door. And we're all like, okay, and we came in, and it took about 20 minutes for us to go from like this to really interested. Why? Because just like Bruce, we had all the wrong crap. I had a gentleman, when I bought my first whole life policy in college, one of my fraternity brothers convinced me to buy this whole life policy. Look, it's a whole, and you don't have to pay for, you're only gonna make one payment for the first year, and then you don't have to make another payment to the end. It was just a gimmick, right, to get you in and whatever. And I got involved in that company, and then when I came home, an agent locally called me, said, we got this a phenomenal product. It's called Universal Life. We're gonna go talk to you about it. And he sucked me into that product. And then we had a state police officer who was working for Independent Order of Foresters of all places, right? And I got to come over and show you this, and he came and showed us this great presentation about how he could retire in their retirement community. It was so wonderful. And he showed us another whole life policy, right? So we were like the suckers of life insurance. That's how we looked at it. And we were paying enough. We were paying so much we couldn't afford anything else. So, when he started talking about how life insurance worked, and he didn't go right into how life insurance. He went into it was a different chart. There used to be this little square, kill him, bone him, kill him, cash him in, right? Remember that, Bruce? Yep. Kill him, bone him, kill him, cash him in. And so when he started going, he said, look. So when he explained to me, so what happens when you die to the money? I said, I don't know. And he said, well, they keep it, right? And then if you borrow it, now you figure out they're going to keep the money, so you borrow it. If you die, whatever. Well, they deduct it from the insurance. I was so mad, right? I got so pissed that I said, that's it. I said, Debbie, we gotta do something. We didn't think, not even for 30 seconds, we switched. It was like, not a big deal. Then they invited us to this office, and we went in and we could start. And I think, I forget who said it, but, we started making some money. And it was like pretty an amazing thing because, we went from not being able to pay any bills on time to having over $10,000 at one point in our checking account. I mean, now in 1987, when you're only making $36,000 a year in your full-time job, that was a lot of money for Sammy and Debbie Yanka. Yeah. That I could tell you, okay? And that happened not because we were building a business at times. We didn't even understand. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. It was because I was motivated about what they did for me, and I wanted to go help people, right? Bottom line. So when Pinocchio said, Chris, I think he said that I forget who it was, that one check, right, that kind of made you think you could do this business. Well, when I think back, I remember it was 1988, 1 year after I joined the business, right? In 1988, part-time, I made $22,000. Now, I was making $36,000 full-time. Now, in 1988, $33,000 full-time is the equivalent of about $85,000 today. That's what I've been making today, right, on the same money. Which means when I made $22,000 part-time, that would have been like $56,000 in today's money, right? But when I made that, I said, crap, I can do that, right? And I decided to quit my job. And then I figured out, right? I figured out this. What PFS does is awesome, right? But what we do, right? How we do it is what makes it special. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, what we do is awesome. How we do it is what makes it special. And it took me about 6 to 8 months to figure that out, right? To figure out that, yes, you made money when I went and helped the family. But if you wanted to build, if you wanted to have freedom, and I was looking at Richie Falcone at the time, and at the time, I don't know if you remember, Bruce, but Rich used to post his checks on the board
Yep,
right, every
exactly.
month. 18,000, 17,000. Well, 1988, 1989, $18,000 in a month. That was I mean, give me a break, right? And he was a carpenter who didn't have an high school education. Okay, got a GED. He was dyslexic on top of it.
Yep.
And I'm saying to myself, why? And he wasn't in the field at the time. And he wasn't working. He wasn't going out and seeing a lot of clients at the time. And I'm saying, how does that happen? Well, I started looking around and said, well, every one of these people is in his hierarchy. I was in his house. If I made a sale, he made money. So I started figuring that out. And I started figuring out that, hey, look, we've got to start recruiting. If I want to build a business here, we need to start recruiting. And once we did that, that led us to so many incredible things in life. The first of which was just the people that we got to meet. I mean, you know, the RVPs that we, and the relationships that we built with people that we would have never, from all cultures.
Yep.
Right? Sid Rivas is from Ecuador, right? Mercy and Lito Lagman are from the Philippines, right? You know, so we have, I mean, everybody from all different cultures and background and races and creeds. That blew me away. And we got, and so it rounded us out as human beings. Right? If you look around that second league of nation, that's the most amazing part about this business.
Right.
So when we were able to start recruiting, people said, Chris, by the way, you were 17 when I first met you. I'm just looking at you right now. Chris was 17 when he showed up. He hung around our meetings for a year before he could put his iron back, to be honest with you, right? But all kidding aside, right, I started to understand that it was the recruiting aspect, right? When Pinocchio said, how do you get your clients, right? It's referrals, sure. But let me tell you how you get clients. The best way to get clients is to recruit a bunch of people. Right? Recruit a bunch of people and field train them. Right? I got field trained. When I took my training to see 30 people when I started. Before I got my license. We probably made 25 sales before I got, and they don't have the system they have today back then. That I can promise you, right? But my point is, I didn't care. All I wanted to do was go help people. In the meantime, that field training that I did set me up to be a millionaire. Set my wife up to be a millionaire because it put a foundation in place. And you know how many people I field trained since then? Who knows? But I will promise you, I went on many more field training appointments with other people than 30. So when people look, you say, 30? Wow, you could have done all that yourself. That's right now I've been broke. No problem.
Yeah.
So by me not worrying about that, I was able to make, and then recruiting people who understood that because I understood it. Everybody I recruited, we went on 3 to 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 field training appointments while they were getting their license. Nowadays, though, you get paid. It's even better. It's like a no-brainer. Go bring your trainer out, recruit a guy, make $1,000 in production. You get a $200 bonus put in your bank for when you pass your test, right? Which is a little bit more than you make as a rep probably on some of those sales if you do that,
Yep.
right? And then you get the training, you get all that stuff. They maybe help you become a district leader, put some people on your team. So I figured out that, but I figured it out kind of late. Okay, it took me about 6 to 8 months. But once I did, and I started recruiting and learning this field training thing, we started making some progress. Our business started to grow. We started making override income. Our base shop started to grow. We started getting some recognition, which felt really, really good because I never got any recognition at the courthouse, right? The only recognition I got is, right, if you were late. And the guy on his watch when he walks in, right? Vern used to sit at the counter waiting for you. And he'd leave early and he would wait around the corner to see if you left early too. Right, that's the kind of recognition we got at the courthouse, right? But my point was, that made me feel good. It made me feel good to be in an environment where somebody was saying, you can do it. Now, it was to be honest with you, this culture went against the grain of how I grew up. Went against my corporate grain, right? It took Debbie a little bit of time to get comfortable with it, It took me a little bit of time to get comfortable with it, because coming from the courthouse, and you're thinking, oh, my friends, if they see this, what are they gonna think? All that stuff that goes through your brain, which I figured out real quickly. But why should you care about what they think about you? They're not feeding you, right? They're not. In other words, to be quite honest with you, right? They're not gonna put food on your table. So, and I learned.